Have you ever found yourself wishing to be immune to the emotional turmoil that others impart? Do you yearn for a sense of control over your life, free from the weight of constant reactions and the need to please everyone around you? If so, you are not alone. Many of us navigate through life seeking acceptance and validation while feeling the silent pain of unfulfilled needs and expectations. Carl Jung, the eminent psychiatrist and psychoanalyst, profoundly understood the nuances of human emotions and the psyche. In this article, we will explore two central themes from Jung's teachings: the necessity of stopping your emotional availability and the transformative power of integrating your inner shadows. This journey will not only enhance your emotional resilience, but also foster a deep sense of self-awareness and authenticity. Understanding emotional availability, the hidden costs of being too available. Emotional availability refers to the extent to which a person is open to connecting with others on a deeper level. While being available can foster relationships, excessive emotional availability often results in being taken for granted, leading to feelings of exhaustion, resentment, and emptiness. Imagine being a constant source of support for everyone around you, while your own emotional needs go unmet. This imbalance can leave you feeling like an emotional sponge, soaked with the stresses of others, yet dried out yourself. Research in psychology indicates that individuals who are overly available may inadvertently position themselves as emotional caretakers. This is particularly evident in relationships where one person consistently gives while the other takes. The relationship dynamic becomes unbalanced, leading to a sense of frustration and depletion. According to a study published in the journal Personality and Social Psychology Bulletin, individuals who engage in excessive emotional labor often experience significant levels of burnout, indicating the psychological toll that constant emotional availability takes. The cycle of reactivity. When you are always available, you might think you are facilitating connections, but in reality, you often become an emotional outlet for others. Carl Jung asserted that our greatest strength lies not in responding to every provocation, but in recognizing and understanding our triggers. This reactive behavior can morph into a cycle that drains your energy. Every time you satisfy another's need without addressing your own, you relinquish a piece of yourself. Let's dive into a real-life scenario. Picture a person who regularly agrees to help colleagues meet tight deadlines, despite feeling overwhelmed and exhausted. Each time they say yes, despite their own internal conflict, they further entrench themselves in a cycle of people-pleasing. Over time, this constant need to be available leads to emotional burnout, disenchantment, and ultimately, resentment toward those they help. Incorporating examples from people's experiences can give further insight into these dynamics. For instance, consider someone who always dreads attending family gatherings because they feel obligated to be the mediator, smoothing over conflicts and emotional tensions. This person suppresses their own discomfort for the sake of others, leading to chronic stress and a feeling of worthlessness that accompanies their sacrifices. The need for self-reflection. To break this cycle, self-reflection is essential. Understanding why you react the way you do is the first step in giving yourself the permission to step back. For instance, ask yourself questions like, do I feel obligated to be present for others even when it costs me my peace? Or do I fear confrontation or abandonment, leading me to always say yes? By turning the focus inward, you gain clarity and can identify patterns that require change. The power of withdrawal. What happens when you stop being available? When you decide to withdraw your availability, you may initially feel discomfort. This silence can seem unsettling, stirring fears of rejection and guilt. However, this is where the transformative process begins. By choosing to silence your reactions and withdrawing from emotional availability, you activate a fundamental shift in your dynamics with others. Jung emphasized that control is an illusion. When you let go of the need to manage others' perceptions through your availability, you unlock a new sense of personal power. As you stop being predictable and available, the people around you will respond in ways that reveal their true characters. They may become desperate, confused, or even hostile, but these reactions are a reflection of their dependency on the emotional energy you previously provided. For example, when someone decides to stop being emotionally available, they may notice that certain friends or colleagues start to act out more aggressively or desperately. This reaction reveals the extent to which those individuals relied on them for validation and emotional support. When those support systems are withdrawn, they are faced with their own unprocessed emotions. The strength of silence. In a world that often equates silence with a lack of engagement, learning the power of silence can be liberating. Choosing when to speak or act gives you mastery over your energy. Jung posited that true strength lies in the ability to maintain silence while reflecting on your emotions rather than reacting impulsively. For instance, consider a scenario where someone provokes you with a derogatory comment. Instead of immediately retaliating to prove a point, you practice silence. This decision reveals your inner strength. By not reacting, you refuse to play another's game. Instead, you can take a moment to examine why the comment affected you and what it reveals about your unresolved emotions. The journey into silence can be a path to self-discovery. In moments of stillness, you can hear your thoughts without the noise of others' expectations. This space allows you to explore your feelings and ultimately choose your responses. For many people, these periods of withdrawal serve as fertile ground for insights and personal growth. Embracing your inner shadows. The journey of self-integration, Carl Jung introduced the concept of the shadow, representing the parts of ourselves we often keep hidden. These can include our fears, insecurities, and repressed emotions. Embracing your shadow involves facing these uncomfortable truths rather than continuing to avoid them. As long as you keep your inner conflicts in the dark, they will continue to dictate your reactions and emotional responses. Integrating the shadow requires courage and vulnerability. It involves admitting that you have flaws and weaknesses, but that these do not define you. By confronting your shadow self, you transform pain into strength. This integration process is essential for achieving what Jung called individuation, the journey of becoming who you truly are, rather than a mere reflection of others' expectations. Real-life example. Imagine someone who constantly feels the need to be perfect in their work, fearing criticism and failure. When they finally acknowledge their fear of imperfection, they can begin to celebrate their strengths and accept their weaknesses. This integration leads to authentic self-acceptance and ultimately reduces the anxiety around their work. Learning through pain. True personal growth often comes through pain. While we have been socialized to believe that pain is something to be avoided at all costs, Jung challenges this notion. He believed that pain serves as a messenger from our psyche, guiding us towards deeper understanding and transformation. Let's take the example of someone grieving the loss of a relationship. Instead of suppressing feelings of sadness, embracing that sorrow can lead to profound insights about self-worth, the importance of boundaries, and the recognition of what truly matters in one's life. As painful as it may be, this acknowledgement and confrontation of emotions is what creates space for healing and growth. Engaging with therapists or support groups can also be beneficial during this process. They provide the tools needed to navigate emotional pain in constructive ways. Moreover, personal stories of resilience can illuminate the transformative power of facing one's struggles, providing hope and assurance that the journey is worthwhile. Embracing your inner shadows. The journey of self-integration, Carl Jung introduced the concept of the shadow, representing the parts of ourselves we often keep hidden. These can include our fears, insecurities, and repressed emotions. Embracing your shadow involves facing these uncomfortable truths rather than continuing to avoid them. As long as you keep your inner conflicts in the dark, they will continue to dictate your reactions and emotional responses. Integrating the shadow requires courage and vulnerability. It involves admitting that you have flaws and weaknesses, but that these do not define you. By confronting your shadow self, you transform pain into strength. This integration process is essential for achieving what Jung called individuation, the journey of becoming who you truly are, rather than a mere reflection of others' expectations. Real-life example. Imagine someone who constantly feels the need to be perfect in their work, fearing criticism and failure. When they finally acknowledge their fear of imperfection, they can begin to celebrate their strengths and accept their weaknesses. This integration leads to authentic self-acceptance and ultimately reduces the anxiety around their work. Learning through pain. True personal growth often comes through pain. While we have been socialized to believe that pain is something to be avoided at all costs, Jung challenges this notion. He believed that pain serves as a messenger from our psyche, guiding us towards deeper understanding and transformation. Let's take the example of someone grieving the loss of a relationship. Instead of suppressing feelings of sadness, embracing that sorrow can lead to profound insights about self-worth, the importance of boundaries, and the recognition of what truly matters in one's life. As painful as it may be, this acknowledgement and confrontation of emotions is what creates space for healing and growth. Engaging with therapists or support groups can also be beneficial during this process. They provide the tools needed to navigate emotional pain in constructive ways. Moreover, personal stories of resilience can illuminate the transformative power of facing one's struggles, providing hope and assurance that the journey is worthwhile. The role of communication. Assess how you communicate. The way you communicate can influence how others perceive your emotional availability. Assessing and reaffirming your communication style is essential. Are you engaging in conversations that drain your energy? Are you always the one reaching out or responding promptly, even when you don't want to? By consciously adjusting your communication habits, you can cultivate relationships that align better with your true self. For instance, if you notice patterns of over-apologizing, challenge yourself to limit these behaviors. Seek authenticity over acceptance. Many individuals fear losing connections and, as a result, hide their true selves. However, as Jung suggests, authenticity leads to real connections. Expressing your true thoughts and feelings opens up the possibility of deeper relationships, grounded in honesty rather than obligation. For example, say a friend is overly critical of your choices. Instead of dismissing your true feelings to maintain the friendship, express how their comments affect you. Authentic communication can either deepen the friendship or clarify that it may not serve your growth. Reevaluating relationships. Identify healthy versus toxic relationships. Another practical aspect of halting emotional availability is reevaluating your relationships. You need to ask yourself, which relationships uplift you and which drain your energy? Write a list of your most significant relationships, then categorize them into two sections: uplifting and draining. This reflective exercise can help you visualize how your relationships impact your overall well-being. From there, you can determine which relationships deserve your emotional investment. Setting boundaries with others. Once you identify draining relationships, the next step is to establish boundaries. Communicate your needs clearly. For example, if a relative often drains your energy with constant complaints, it's okay to set limits on discussions to protect your mental health. Establishing these boundaries might be uncomfortable at first, but it's essential for cultivating healthier dynamics. You can practice phrases like, "I need some time for myself right now," or "Let's talk about something more uplifting." Recognizing manipulative behaviors. Some relationships may emerge as toxic because they overtly or subtly manipulate your feelings. Recognizing when these dynamics occur is essential for reclaiming your emotional space. Pay attention to relationships where you feel obliged to respond or act a certain way, even when it doesn't serve you. For instance, if a friend often makes you feel guilty for not responding immediately, that's a red flag. It's crucial to understand your worth isn't dictated by someone else's expectations. Finding clarity and power through silence. The importance of strategic silence. As we discussed earlier, silence can be an incredibly potent tool. Choosing to silence your reactions doesn't equate to weakness. Rather, it illustrates self-control and discernment, allowing you to assess situations without the external influence of others. Strategic silence can force critical reflection within both you and the person you're communicating with. When done mindfully, it can incite others to evaluate their contributions to the conversation. Using silence as a tool for transformation. Silence creates a window of opportunity for deeper connection with yourself. During these pauses, you can listen to your thoughts and feelings, beginning to understand their origins and significance. Through this practice, you begin the process of self-transformation. By becoming attuned to your inner voice, you dismantle the patterns that previously controlled you. The discomfort of silence transforms into empowerment as clarity emerges. Facing your fears of abandonment. Understanding the fear of rejection. One of the biggest hurdles in stopping your emotional availability is the fear of abandonment. This fear often stems from childhood experiences where we learn to equate love with availability and compliance. Jung believed that fear of abandonment compels many individuals to conform to others' expectations, suppressing their authentic desires to avoid conflict. Recognizing this fear requires it to be confronted rather than evaded. Embracing rejection. Accepting that rejection is a natural part of life can free you from the shackles of emotional reactivity. The more you embrace the idea that not everyone will understand or accept your choices, the more liberating it becomes to stand firm in your truth. Practice affirmations such as, "I trust myself to navigate relationships with integrity." These affirmations help reinforce your ability to embrace rejection as a natural process of growth. The journey towards wholeness. The emergence of your true self. As you embark on this journey toward halting emotional availability, you'll begin noticing a shift toward your true self. This journey, known as individuation, aligns with Jung's emphasis on becoming fully who you are, not simply a reflection of others' expectations. You'll discover aspects of yourself previously shrouded in fear or misunderstanding. Each layer you peel back reveals a more authentic self, guiding you toward emotional freedom. Integration, the path to self-actualization. Jung taught that integration involves uniting the conscious and unconscious. The unconscious mind harbors emotions and experiences that shape our reactions and beliefs. By facing these parts of ourselves, we achieve self-actualization. Holistic practices such as journaling and meditation can connect you deeply with your intrinsic motivations and beliefs. These practices enable you to transcend your surface-level existence and cultivate a sense of fulfillment and purpose. Embracing solitude. Transforming loneliness into growth. As you begin your path toward emotional independence, you may experience loneliness. It's essential to recognize that solitude can become a sanctuary for growth and self-reflection. Jung believed that periods of solitude are necessary for growth as they allow individuals to reconnect with themselves without the noise of external opinions. Finding strength in solitude. Instead of viewing solitude as a negative experience, use it as an opportunity to redefine your self-concept. Embrace the time spent alone as a chance to learn what truly resonates with you. What makes you feel alive and fulfilled? Engaging in creative activities or exploring new hobbies during these solitary times can lead to enhancing your self-discovery journey. Whether through art, writing, or physical activities, allow solitude to spark inspirations long buried under external obligations. The science behind emotional independence. Psychological research supporting self-awareness. Recent studies in psychology emphasize the importance of emotional independence. Research suggests that individuals who cultivate self-awareness and maintain emotional boundaries enjoy healthier relationships and improve mental well-being. A 2020 study published in Emotion Journal highlighted that individuals with high levels of emotional awareness experience lower levels of anxiety and depression. The study concluded that attaining emotional clarity directly correlates with improved relationship satisfaction and overall happiness. Practical applications of psychological findings. Understanding these findings empowers you to pursue emotional independence actively. By recognizing the link between self-awareness and positive mental health, you can commit to personal growth strategies that prioritize emotional clarity. Engaging in workshops or therapy based on mindfulness and emotional intelligence can provide additional tools. These opportunities not only enhance your awareness, but also foster community connections with like-minded individuals seeking emotional growth alongside you. Real-world examples of transformation. Inspirational stories of emotional independence. Real-life examples of emotional independence illustrate the concepts we've explored. Take, for instance, the transformative journey of Maya, a woman who struggled to define her boundaries in relationships for years. After years of feeling drained by her friendships, she made the courageous decision to withdraw emotionally. By actively choosing to prioritize her needs, Maya transformed her interactions from a place of external obligation to one of authentic engagement. As a result, her relationships became more genuine, based on mutual respect and understanding. The power of courageous conversations. Moreover, consider the example of David, who faced his past traumas while transitioning from being emotionally available to emotionally independent. Through open discussions with his therapist, David learned to articulate the weight of his unprocessed emotions. This approach enabled him to confront and heal from previous experiences that had long defined his self-worth. By embracing vulnerability in conversations, David began to reclaim his narrative and cultivate relationships that honored his newfound strength. Conclusion: your path to emotional freedom. The journey of stopping your emotional availability and embracing your inner shadows can be transformative. By detaching from the need for constant validation and learning how to protect your energy, you open up a path towards self-realization and empowerment. Carl Jung's teachings remind us that true strength does not lie in avoiding discomfort, but in facing it. Through this process, you discover that pain can be a powerful catalyst for change, guiding you toward deeper self-awareness and authenticity. As you embark on this journey, remember that change may be uncomfortable, but it is also essential for growth. By taking charge of your emotional availability, you allow yourself to build genuine connections and cultivate a life that aligns with your true self. Choose to engage in the world with clarity and purpose, and you'll find that everything changes for the better. If what you've read resonates with you, I encourage you to take the next steps in your journey. Take a moment to like this video, share it with others who might benefit, and subscribe to our channel for more insightful content like this. Together, we can foster a community that encourages emotional awareness and healing. Let's keep the conversation going in the comments. Share your thoughts and experiences. How have you navigated your emotional availability? Your story might inspire someone else on their journey toward emotional freedom. Remember, you are not alone in this journey, and every step you take towards self-awareness and authenticity is a step worth celebrating. Thank you for joining us on this exploration, and remember, true transformation begins when you choose to awaken to your deepest self.